Right now at 6, a simple question about the time turns into a brutal attack. Why a woman was left beaten and bloody outside a Midtown apartment. And road rage caught on camera. What this Katy man is accused of doing to another driver that has him in trouble with police. Plus, the Fort Bend County Sheriff is getting ready to go live.
Let's the community see what we're doing, what our deputies are doing out there.
The popular reality show that will soon feature Fort Bend's finest. The news starts now.
And we start the news with breaking news, and police have arrested 2 people in connection with a violent carjacking of a U of H student we told you about yesterday near campus.
Brett Buffington is live with details. Brett, police also recovered the student's car.
Mia, they did. They found that black Toyota Camry, get this, just blocks from the UH campus. Take a look at this video. This is one of the 2 suspects police have arrested in the last 90 minutes. He and a 17-year-old girl are both being questioned right now by police investigators with the university's police department. But investigators tell me they have these 2 on video using the victim's credit card. That carjacking had happened yesterday on the south side of the University of Houston's campus early yesterday afternoon. The 23-year-old victim, she says 5 men approached her car. One of them asked for directions, then another attacked the woman, punching her in the head. That group, they then took off in the student's car. Police haven't said if they're still looking for any of those other 5 suspects. They haven't told us tonight either what these 2 might be charged with. We're live at University of Houston Police Headquarters tonight. Brett Buffington, KHOU 11 News.
Awfully scary stuff, and this case makes it 2 women who've been assaulted and robbed at their cars in Houston in 2 days.
The second attack happened in Midtown. Janelle Bluda is here now. Janelle, you talked exclusively with that woman.
That's right, guys. She said she was caught off guard because the suspects had asked her what time it was. And police say that is a distraction tactic. And while they don't have enough information yet to link these 2 cases together, they say it's just one of the many ways suspects will try to take advantage during a moment of vulnerability.
The bruises on her face tell only part of the story.
You know, there's just so many unanswered questions that I would like to know the answers to.
Anna was in Houston for the weekend visiting friends. She came to town for a good time, but instead she left with a night she'll never forget.
I walked to my car, got my toothbrush and toothpaste, and then my friend called me.
It was dark, almost 3 in the morning. Still on the phone, Anna sat on the curb outside her friend's apartment.
This guy asked me, hey, what time is it?
She answered, but he asked again.
As soon as I finished telling him the second time, someone came up from behind me and started punching me.
Anna says a guy she didn't see knocked her to the ground. The 2 grabbed her phone with her credit cards and took off.
That 1 second that you're not, aware of like what you're doing or who's around you, or like even just something so simple as sitting on a curb, there's still space behind you, on the sidewalks.
And just the very next day, right off the U of H campus, another attack just like the first.
Is the distraction or to take you away from losing sight of your surroundings?
Officer Barry Curtis says even when you think it's okay, you can never let your guard down.
People have to use their judgment. I mean, it's a fine line, I know, sometimes between, being maybe compassionate, being a, good Samaritan or a good citizen, and, not being taken advantage of.
Anna says by the time the red flags were being raised, it was too late, and she believes the similarities between the 2 attacks are no mistake.
Stuff like that doesn't necessarily happen so much as a coincidence, but yeah.
Well, Anna now has to replace her phone and her credit cards, but she says the worst part is that now she says she will have to have surgery on her shoulder, which was injured when she fell. And now if you have any information on who these suspects are, you are asked to call police. So very scary there.
Very similar ordeals.
Yeah. Yeah, very similar. It's uncanny almost.
You can never be too safe out there, folks. All right. Janelle Bluda, thanks so much.
All right, David Paul is here to talk about the weather. He describes it as murky, and you can see why.
The thunderstorms have moved out, and we are looking ahead to a rather foggy night. David Paul's here with the latest on this wild weather ride. David?
We may end up with a dense fog advisory before tomorrow morning, and the fog's not just going to be on the coast. It'll go all the way inland up to Sam Houston Forest and up in Huntsville. So be very careful in the fog. It's going to be thick. Take a look outside. Galveston, Mardi Gras. This is another spot where the fog and the mist and the drizzle and the murkiness is going to be with us all evening long. Temperatures will hover in the 50s, and there will be a chance for rain. Most of what falls on you Mardi Gras goers this evening in Galveston will be very light rain and mist, but it's going to be there. You can see how foggy and drizzly it is already here in downtown. 51 at Hobby Airport, 54 at Hobby, Bush is at 51, Pearland's at 54, Tomball's at 50. Didn't warm up too much today. We may warm up a little bit tomorrow, but it's going to be slowed down by the dreary drizzle and the fog that you'll have to deal with tonight and tomorrow morning. We'll talk about the slow warm up and when our next cold front's going to get here and what it means for the coming weekend forecast. Back with that in a few minutes.
Thank you. New tonight, the Harris County Health Department confirms there is a case of Legionnaires disease in Cyprus. We told you about this young woman last night. A 29-year-old mother is battling bacterial infection, which is found in water. Health officials say this is the only case they are aware of, and they're still looking into how this woman, Sarah Cruz, contracted the disease.
We have some breaking news now from Northwest Harris County. Deputies have found a marijuana grow house at a home on Crestvale. It's near the intersection of Veterans Memorial and West Road. Deputies were responding to a welfare check when they made the discovery. One person has been arrested. Well, President Trump is touting his new budget proposal to lawmakers today, but deep inside are proposed cuts that would seriously impact programs for beaches and the coast.
Matt Doherty looks into how those cuts would affect Galveston.
This beach was one of the projects the feds chipped in $13 million to make it happen. But you won't see any swimmers this chilly day, but tourists like Jim and Mary Short from Canada are still enjoying the views of Babes Beach, which cost $22 million to make. But our partners at Galveston County Daily News report President Trump's budget proposal would cut funding for future beach expansion projects like this one, something tourists are not happy to hear.
We go to Florida all the time. We love Florida, but their sand is brought in, same with, I suspect, here. And I think it's important that you retain it, and the federal government pays for it.
The newspaper reports the Trump budget also proposes nearly $3 billion in cuts to the EPA and another $200 million to cuts to NOAA. One of the programs to be cut would be Galveston's well-known beach bacteria monitoring. During the summers, those red flags advise swimmers and families of the healthiest places to take a dip. Of course, none of these proposed cuts are set in stone. Congress must first approve it all. From Galveston Island, standing for Houston, Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
Thanks so much, Matt. This Katy man was caught on camera committing a dangerous act of road rage, and tonight investigators are trying to find him. He's 43-year-old Randu Salgada. Detectives say he got angry when he was unable to pass cars in an emergency lane during a traffic jam 2 weeks ago. He allegedly tailgated another driver and smashed the driver's side view mirror. Once both drivers stopped in a parking lot on Barker Cypress, detectives say Salgado punched the driver in the stomach and then sped away. That driver was not seriously hurt, thank goodness. If you know where Randu Salgada is, you know what to do. Call police.
Tonight, police say a soldier stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, is the man who beat and raped a teenager in Cyprus 5 years ago. We're talking about 24-year-old Levi Goss. He's a member of the 82nd Airborne. He reportedly grew up near Port Arthur. Detectives say Goss is a suspect in another sexual assault in North Carolina. DNA collected in that case was matched to DNA in the 2013 kidnapping and rape of a 16-year-old girl in Cyprus. That girl was abducted, raped, and beaten near Cypress Woods High School. She played dead until her attacker left, then managed to walk to a movie theater for help. Investigators say she is relieved to hear this news.
She was extremely excited, but as we stated earlier, this individual was brutally assaulted that night, hit in the head numerous times, and she's still suffering from forms of brain trauma.
Goss enlisted in the Army in 2016. He will be extradited to Harris County in the next few weeks.
The eighth wonder of the world is coming back to life. After years of sitting vacant, Harris County commissioners today unanimously approved a $105 million revamp of the Astrodome. This project calls for raising the floor and putting 1,400 parking spaces underneath. Renovating the rest of the stadium would open up 500,000 square feet of space to rent out for festivals, conferences, and big events during the rodeo. For longtime Astros fans who spent countless seasons in the Dome, this is exciting news.
We spend millions of dollars every year maintaining buildings, rebuilding the courthouse, for example. So this is just another building, and to be able to put it into a revenue-generating situation as opposed to just sitting out there and rusting or tearing it down.
The cost will be split 3 ways: taxpayer money, hotel taxes, and parking and service fees. Once a contractor is chosen, the work should take 1.5 years to complete. County Judge Ed Emmett fired back at critics' claims that $35 million in taxpayer money would be better spent on Harvey relief. He called the Astrodome a county building in dire need of maintenance. Well,